When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, we sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? The therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? So he responded right away and he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details. Like, I knew that I was ready to leave that day, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy, there was no compassion, there was no like wanting to fight for us, and I was like, so what are we gonna do? And he just kept playing and he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. So it was like within a couple days he moved out.
Some people think relationship is like a game, and this is why we keep seeing videos like this. So she decided to get a divorce, and once she told her husband, his reaction shocked her. She couldn't believe he didn't try to fight for her. She expected he would oppose it or at least show some sort of reaction as someone who still wanted to be in that marriage. But since he didn't care, she felt offended. What got to her the most was the fact that he got home and played his video game as if nothing had happened. And the next day, he got everything ready to leave.
When I want something, I get it. We used to live in upstate New York, and now we live in Tennessee, and I realized that I wanted something in New York, so I told my husband that he was going to drive me to New York. So it's currently almost 7 a.m., and I just woke up. I'm feeling pretty good, and he's been driving all through the night, so I didn't have to deal with that, and now we're almost to New York, so I can get what I need, and then tomorrow we'll head back to Tennessee. Isn't he the best?
I will help fund this man's divorce. That man has died 1,000 deaths. That's a defeated man. Hey man, blink twice if help is needed. Bro is about to get a divorce. Dude looks like a Walking Dead character. Sometimes people either aren't able to see what is in front of them or are ignoring all the signs. Because clearly this man isn't happy, but she seems to care less about his feeling. Look at his facial expression. The guy looked like someone who would rather be anywhere else but in this car traveling with her. But still, she didn't acknowledge that and continued recording him as if nothing was happening.
When I want something, I get it.
She should use the same energy when it comes to her husband's needs. If she had done that, she would have known that he is not happy. Things aren't going well, and it's visible. His body language says it all. It could be one of those situations where he is sticking around for the kids, but ignoring his feelings will certainly push him to his limits, and once he is at that stage, there won't be much that she will be able to do to change his mind. This is what she should consider.
When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, I texted my therapist, our marriage counselor, and I was like, I need to tell him that I want a divorce, but I want to do it in a session so that there's like a mediator present. Got us in like ASAP, like 2 days later. And I walked in knowing that I was going to ask for a divorce. And so we sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? The therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. You know, it's hard for me to like say the words. I was like, I'm done. I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? So he responded right away and he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details.
I don't know why she was shocked by his response when she was the one who decided to take him to a section to tell him that she no longer wanted to be his wife. We know she was expecting him to beg for another chance, but by the look of it, he also had enough and wasn't willing to play that game. He was straightforward. If you want to get a divorce, it's fine with me. Let's go ahead and get it done.
And that was that. And I just was like, I looked at my therapist and I was just like kind of stunned. Like I knew that I was ready to leave that day, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy, there was no compassion, there was no like wanting to fight for us,
But why would he fight for a relationship when she already threw the towel? This is the part she isn't willing to acknowledge. She is not long in the ring. So how is she expecting him to fight by himself? This type of fight requires two people, And since she was out, it no longer made sense.
I didn't think that there would be, but you just always hope that like one last try, you know? We went home that night. We didn't speak. He slept on the couch. I woke up and went to work the next day, came home. He was playing PlayStation that night. I sat next to him. We hadn't talked in 24 hours. And I said, can we talk about what happened yesterday? And he was just playing, just looking straight ahead. And he was like, what's to talk about?
I agree with him. Because if you guys were in therapy for 2 years, and it got to the point where she felt divorce was the only way forward, what else is there to talk about? I don't see the point of trying to keep digging it when both already know that nothing else is coming out of it. I wonder what she had in her mind when she suggested they should talk about it. He is so much happier now. I asked my man of 12 years, not husband because he wouldn't marry me. Either we're going to work through this, or I'm moving out. What's it going to be? He said, move out, and that was that. I told my ex that I wasn't happy. We did the counseling thing, but from the day I told him I wasn't happy, he put a timeline on it, and if he didn't see an improvement in me in 6 months, he was out. My ex-husband packed my things and took my name off of all of our bank accounts in 24 hours after I said I wanted a divorce. He claimed he wanted to work things out, but his actions showed otherwise. The only thing my ex said was that I could sign all the documents for him, aside from the one piece needing to be notarized. He never even reviewed the terms. If you like our video and would like to support us, you can do it by subscribing to our channel. It will motivate us to work daily and post this great content for our community.
In my mind, I'm thinking, this is our last ditch effort to like steer the ship around, you know? And I was like, so what are we gonna do? And he just kept playing and he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. He had done things within that 24 hours. He had opened up the filing folder of his single man life and went ahead and got all this shit done.
So was she still expecting him to do something to make her change her mind? She said the ship could still turn around, but evidently he was no longer interested. He was fine with its current direction. Even the most patient person has their own limits, and it seems like he has reached his. Therefore, getting things ready for his departure was the best thing he could have done for both. But at that time, she didn't understand it. His actions displayed a high level of maturity. He knows when a relationship gets to this level, there isn't much to be done.
So it was like within a couple days, he moved out. Yeah, he says he was shocked, but let's be honest.
Mine was shocked but said nothing after, and moved out in 10 days. My ex was never more active in our marriage than he was putting his plan together to leave. Or he respected your wishes. With my first husband, that was my plan. He got on my laptop and saw that I had looked up the paperwork. I had it printed off in my work bag, and we didn't need the session because he figured it out. Wait, did I hear that right? You would have gone another round if he would have begged you instead of being cold about it? I would be really pissed to be dragged to the therapist to be told you want a divorce. Don't think I could react or respond normally. With the audience, my reaction would be more spiteful and distant. So she claimed she also wasn't happy, and it got to the point where divorce was the only solution left, but at the same time she was expecting him to fight for their relationship. This is what makes this type of situation confusing. If she believed there were still things that could be done to revive her marriage, she should have tried them, instead of placing the divorce on the table hoping that he would panic and try harder. Based on what she said, it seems like she just used divorce as a means to get him to do more for their relationship. Maybe she really didn't want a divorce, and that was just a strategy that didn't work.
I actually have a 4-year goal. My daughter's 14 years old, and 4 years she'll be 18. So she ain't gone out the house by then. So at this point, I want to retire.
I noticed that the lady, you asked her for 5-year goals, and she gave you 4, and you just started licking your lips.
Damn. That's just something that I do. Ain't no big
Oh,
thing.
I felt like you salivated on her not following directions, so I felt like you were abusive because it seemed like you really got off on somebody not following directions.
Bruh.
And then I took offense to that. If you rolled a tape back, you started licking your lips. She was like, I don't have 5 years, I got 4. And you liked the fact that she was gonna kick her daughter out. And
That's her situation. I was just asking a
But
question.
you start licking your lips like it was gonna be a situation that you was gonna handle. I don't know. I just feel like you open it for anything.
Just from me licking my lips, you got all that?
You didn't lick them at nobody else. I've been watching you. I've been paying attention, and then I even noticed, and I let it slide. You got Fashion Nova at the top, but you got Church at the bottom. I wasn't gonna say nothing, and then you don't have socks on. I wasn't judging, but it was the licking the lip thing.
I got socks on, love.
Oh, I can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why you looking so hard? You supposed to be focused on us, and you all in the man's feet.
She was ready for everyone, including the host. I wouldn't be surprised if she is one of those women who claims that men aren't sticking around because they are intimidated by a strong woman like her.
These are drawstring. It's like
Oh,
a little,
okay.
yeah. See, you jump into
My
the
bad.
conclusions.
My
It's
bad.
cool, love.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was the lick thing.
Okay.
I didn't say nothing about none of this.
She took everybody out. She said the lady can't follow instructions. He is a lip-licking, no sock-wearing abuser, and the host needs to mind her business because she too worried about his socks. This amount of delusion cannot be quantified. I noticed you didn't wake up at 6 a.m., but 6:01. So who was keeping you up all night and got you sleeping in? This is actually insane. She literally just made up a whole movie in her head. She created a full Netflix series just because his lips move. Sometimes when we see someone who is single, we tend to ask them a few questions to get a better understanding of why things aren't working for them. But this is one of those cases where we don't need to ask anything. These few seconds gave us her whole story related to the issues she encountered in her previous relationship. Now we know why it didn't work out.
It seemed like you really got off on somebody not following directions. And then I took offense to that. If you roll the tape back, you started licking your lips. She was like, I don't have 5 years, I got 4. And you liked the fact that she was going to kick her daughter out. And
That's her situation.
Where is this coming from? Some people are using words out of context, and she is a perfect example of it. He didn't say a word. All he did was listen to the other prospect who was talking. But still, she believed that his lip movements were abnormal to the point of making that assumption. Can you imagine being in a relationship with her? This is a woman who will create a whole scenario and tell you that you are cheating just because you came tired from the gym. She will tell you that your t-shirt looks more sweaty than on other days, so it means that something must have happened while you were there. She is definitely the type who will create huge scenes out of nothing. Next, we're going to see what happens when God operates, when we refuse to listen to him. The gentleman in the next video probably got some signs that he shouldn't pursue the person he is going after, but since he decided to do it anyway, you won't believe what happened. As you can see, everything was gone and he was sent back to his car. That must be a sign that he has no business bringing Valentine's gifts to this address. It won't be clearer than that. It must be a guide, but I wouldn't be surprised if he still knocked on her door. Sometimes people turn a blind eye to things even when it's right in front of them. This is all for today, and we hope you like it. Make sure you check our channel tomorrow for another great video.